Hey everyone, Honest Hughie here. Hopefully everyone's doing okay. And I'm going to do another video, like a low-key follow-up video to the last one I made, but it's going to be, instead of 5 movies that I've watched recently, 5 games that I've played recently. So I'm going to start, because now I know the number I'm doing. It's going to be like 5. I might do this quite regularly because I enjoyed doing the last video. And it mixes it up a bit. It's not just movies or games, it can be both. And I can also do like 5 places I've been, stuff like that. So I just figured I'd try something new. So I'll delve into the video now. We'll start with number 5 that I've played, and that would be Gotham Knights. I finally played Gotham Knights. I think it was the beginning of last month, and I played it a while back when it first came out, and I hated it. It was terrible. Really, like, just not smooth gameplay at all. And it just didn't have an interesting story. The premise was good, Batman dying and the Knights having to take over and look after Gotham, but there wasn't much to it. So, give it a year down the line, I think, year or two. Then I played Suicide Squad game, and the beginning of that was mint, and then it went downhill, like totally downhill. And I thought, you know what, that was so bad, I'm actually going to do Gotham Knights. So it made me do Gotham Knights. And again, I felt it lacked in gameplay, and I felt it lacked in the story. I thought the vital villains were missing. Like, where was, like, there's Harley Quinn, she's a side character villain though. There's Mr. Freeze, he's a side character villain, and there's Clayface. But where's Solomon Grundy? Where's the Mad Hatter? You could argue Two-Face could be dead, but where are these other villains that we haven't seen yet? Like, where's Killer Shark? Not Killer Shark, because he plays Killer Shark. The Great White Shark, the one with a metal jaw. There's a few others too. There's the Time one, who has just a clock. It just would have been cool to have added them as little side quests for the Knights to sort of be like, because let's face it, Batman's dead, the city's open, they'd all come out. Even if it's brand new ones, and the Court of Owls, they were terrible. I didn't think they were good at all. Like when you think about it, it sounds mint and it sounds powerful, but they're just rich snobby people. Like, they're not something that a buy would be strong enough to take down like Batman. Luckily it was Ra's al Ghul who did it. We know by the intro, but again, I wouldn't believe that would happen. Any ending, let's just say the ending's just terrible. The fact that they're bringing back again for him to die again, it's just terrible. But so it's not like it's more because I like the Arkham games. So this was not Arkham. This has zero to do with Arkham, but at least it's not tied into Arkham, unlike Suicide Squad. And they chickened out as well, didn't they? Because it's clones now. So here we go. So on to my number 4 spot, and this is going up a little bit better here. It's kind of a low-key doubler, so I figured I'd bring a 1 and 2 in, and it's Oxenfree. Now, Oxenfree 1 and 2, I'm going to do because I recently played them both on the Switch, and I've got to say, wow, amazing. It's a Netflix game as well. Netflix Studios made it, which I think is really cool. And it actually shows how good Netflix are when it comes to the stories, when they actually put their minds to it instead of just spouting out this generic crap. If they actually put their minds to stories, especially like time travel and stuff, being stuck in a time loop, it works really well, and it was great. It's like I cared about the characters as well. Like I say, the first one's quite old. I got it for free on the PlayStation, and it's I didn't play it on the PlayStation. I played a bit of it, but I got a bit bored of it because it's not a PlayStation game for me. But I played it on the Switch, and once I got into, because it does take a bit to get into, because there's a lot of talking in it. I was blown away by it. I thought it was amazing. Just from the main character to the side characters to the story, being trapped in a loop again at the end, and then I went on to the second one, and it was a different character, and it ties in. It ties in really well. I actually prefer the second one. A lot of people say the second one's not as good. It does take, like, there's a few issues with the game, just like the first one, which I'll go over, but I'll go over the benefits, which is the story. It's worth ploughing through for the story. Only complaint I have with it is the navigation is terrible, and it makes you go backwards and forwards a lot. which is a little theme I've got with a couple, like one more that I'll mention after this. But apart from that, it was a great story, and to be honest with you, the ending's really good because you can pick how it ends, and so it's not really a spoiler if I told you the ending, but I won't, because if you just want to play it, I say play it. It's like Hidden Gem. 1 and 2, it's like a bundle buy. Do it, it's worth it. Like I say, the characters are just mint in it, and that's what makes it, it makes a good game. You've got good characters, which I felt Gotham Knights, going back to that, lacked. I didn't like the character designs either on that. So we're gonna delve into my number 3 spot, which is gonna be Firewatch. Oh my god, I was Firewatch, like it's close to number 1 spot, but the reason why it's number 3 is because it's quite an old game, and it is very repetitive. There's not much to gameplay wise, but story wise, very good. It's a mint game. If you haven't checked it out, I'd check it out. If you like story games, similar to the last 2 I mentioned, if you like them, play it. It is cheap now as well. It's really good. It's more of a, don't expect much from it. It's more of a coping with life, and sort of pretty much the main guy's going through some shit and he's escaping it instead of facing it, and it's all about him talking to a similar person on the island, Henry and Delilah, like Henry's the guy you play as, and Delilah, it's only them 2 you hear. You do hear one more guy as the story goes on, but just ignore that story bit, because it does go somewhere, but it's not like a mystery uncovered and thing blown off. It ends very realistically to how, if that situation, for instance, if that situation happened, it would end that way. The only gripe I have with it, and I will tell you this before you play it, because you need to know this going in, you don't see Delilah. You don't see her. You don't even meet. It's not even a character model for her. Shows photos at the end. You see Ned, you see his son, but you don't see Delilah. And that's my only gripe. Should have saw a photo of her, at least. But then it could be that thing, was she lying to you, was she not, which is why I like the game. And it was really good. It's pretty much like quite a grounded game for what it is. The only downside of it, why it's quite low, is the back and forth. Again, the navigation is terrible, which is a theme with these games. It seems like they don't put navigation in to fill it out, and they don't need to. I'd rather have a giant arrow telling me where to go than be running around for an hour trying to figure out where to go, and then it crashing because I've gone too far back. So I've gone too far back off the story path, so I'm going to go back on the story path and make my way all the way around this navigation path thing, and then it crashes. So like I said, it's just stuff where if they just had little daft things in it, like an arrow, it would have been perfect. But again, that's why it takes number 3, just because of that blooming navigation. Now, number 2 spot is a game that I've been putting off for a while playing, because I watched Pengu's reviews on it, and I've watched quite a lot of reviews, and it's not continuing from the second one, and it's Watch Dogs Legion. Now, with Watch Dogs Legion, I hated the idea of it when I heard it. I did not like the fact that you could just be anybody, anywhere, because I wanted it to be a main character game. I wanted it to continue the second game, because I thought Marcus was actually really well, like at first I didn't like Marcus. When you first meet him, it seems like this edgy, cringy sort of bellend, putting it bluntly. I've done crime, let's wipe it off, so wipe it off so no one knows I've done crime, blah blah blah. But as the story goes along, you realise it's not just that, he does care. And not just that, it's self-aware. This is when Ubisoft were at like the peak, before they were cancelling games left, right and centre, before they were doing the thing with, what is it, Vanguard, something, not Vanguard, I forgot what it's called, but that online thing they did, that was rubbish. This was, the second one was mint, and it still looks good today. Only gripe, the second one, you can't skip cinematics. So that's it. I was going to replay it, but you can't skip cinematics, and I've seen them too many times. And obviously, Wrench is amazing. So I'm going to start with the main story of this game. Rubbish. Watch Dogs Legion's main story, bad. It starts off. Ugh, I'm a bit weird with the story. I don't know if. Oh well, obviously they will be aware of the London bombings. I felt it was a bit distasteful. I was putting it aside a bit, but it's a bit like sort of doing, if it was like if we based a game in New York and did the New York bombings, like it just doesn't feel right, does it? And obviously we know about the London bombings. It just doesn't. It's just something they should have swayed away from. Even if it was a cyber attack, I would have rolled with it. It's low key a cyber attack, but I just didn't like the bombing premise. Not just because of that, mainly because it was boring. It was a bit like, yeah, and then it's sort of a mystery who's behind it, and then when it goes down to when you find out who is behind it, I wasn't buying it for 1 second. 1 second. That ending I was not buying at all. There's no final battle, which is terrible. Um, but the only thing I liked was, leaning back on what I mentioned, playing as anyone was mint. Playing as any character you see is mint. But there's one other gripe I've got with the game, and I think a lot of people agree with this. The voice acting is atrocious. It is terrible voice acting. There's so many characters I wanted to play as, but I just didn't because of the voices. It was very, you can tell it's American trying to be British. Like a British trying to be American, it doesn't work. Unless you're good at voice acting, you can't just be a average voice actor trying to do a British accent. It's not even doing a British accent, it's just, do not know that London's diverse. You could have American speaking people in London. It doesn't matter. I'd rather them have done that than what they did. Oh God, Brav and all that. Oh my God. They sounded Jamaican, but they were pale white. Oh. So yeah, the voice acting's terrible, but the hacking's fun. The gameplay's fun. The once you get into the story and stuff, it's not too bad. Like I say, again, it was just a terrible voice acting, and that ending. Oh my God, that ending. But yeah, we'll roll on with, and it cops out a certain thing it does near the end of the game, which I felt would have been good. So I'll delve into my number one game that absolutely, I've played it before, but I haven't done a review of it on here. And it's the Guardians of the Galaxy game. That takes number one spot. I replayed it again, and oh my God, it's amazing. If you just haven't played it, I highly recommend you check it out. Put aside the little glitches that's in it. Put aside any reviews you've heard. Go in there with an open mind. That's meant for the story. In my opinion, the characters in the game 10 times better than the ones in the movie. You watch the game, you won't watch the movie the same. The characters are done right here, especially one major one, that's Drax. Drax is done amazing. Arguably it's his game. Arguably this is a proper Drax game, like Drax the Destroyer, not Drax the comic relief who has certain things like there is certain things I like it, like they've done with the movie Drax, like taking things literally I do like, but they're not dumb. He just takes stuff literally. Like there's a scene in the game where the Lady Hellbender, you probably heard of her, and she just go, oh, she's got her hands full at the moment, so she can't help us. And then Drax just goes, oh yeah, she does have big strong hands. It's that type of stuff, and I thought that was mint, but he's still very smart. When they're on the planet, he's like, oh, this is the planet, blah blah blah, and he actually explains it, and he's really smart. Peter Quill's done amazing in this. Gamora's done good. She, don't get me wrong, she's still angry. She doesn't just scream and yell at every single person. She has actual depth to her. And there's no crappy romance thing with her and Peter Quill. I didn't like that. The whole idea of Guardians is they're just misfits themselves. Yeah, Peter Quill does try and get with anything with legs, but I don't think he would actually get with Gamora. Not really. But I do buy him getting with Mantis, which is quite funny, and Mantis is amazing in it. Groot is mint in it as well, and Rocket is awesome. Rocket's done so well. They're all good, to be honest with you. And Cammy, there's a choice near the beginning, and I think you'd have to be crazy to do this, but there's a llama or Rocket's weapons you pick from, that you find a llama on this planet, and you can decide if you want to keep it or not. But I'm going to keep it. Keep her! She's class. And she helps you out within the game. Your choices matter as well. Well, your choices don't affect the ending, but they affect like outcome in certain situations as the story plays along. Your choices actually do matter. It doesn't matter in the grand scheme of the game, which I like. I like that because the story itself doesn't really need to have a choice ending, but it does matter in how things play out. So if you want it to play out like a sort of, you're sort of going there fighting everything, and you make bad choices left and right, but it doesn't matter, that's fine. But if you make the right choice, it's really well. And there's another character in it, Cosmo. Oh my god, he's cute. He's good in this, and he's got pups. He's got puppos. Oh, honestly, absolutely, this game, spot on. Like, it shows how wrong they've done Drax. The only thing I've got to say is the design on the characters I'm a bit in between. Peter Quill I can roll with. Gamora looks mint. Groot looks awesome. Rocket looks good. But Drax looks shit. Drax's design's bad. Like, it's just, it's not, the movie design of him was better. I'll give them that. But you can get used to that. Put that aside, you'll get used to it because it's really good, and he is amazing in it, Drax. Like, honestly, there's a bit Fing Fang Foom where you go to fight him. It's amazing from there on. Well, I say from there on, it was amazing beforehand, and it delves into a lot of issues that the movie brings up but doesn't really show a lot of. Like, this is them fresh. So this is where Peter's just come after Raiders, and there's been a war Peter's just come back from, and they've sort of banded together. Just Drax doesn't trust Gamora still and stuff like that. This is the storyline that I wanted in the movie, but I know why they didn't do it. But it's Drax killing Thanos, which is meant. Obviously killing, might not be dead. I hope there's a second one coming of this game. Only problem is, it came out with that monstrosity, that trash heap of an Avenger game we got. It came out with that, and people associated Avengers with that, thinking, oh, it's going to be crap. And it was like, because I got that as a bundle with Avengers, I think Avengers has no right to be near that game. Avengers needs to go in the bin. That needs to stay like on a pedestal because it's mint. That's what they need to do more of, because they're great with the storytelling, especially Marvel stuff. If you do it properly and do the villains like they've done the villains, it's good. But like I say, it was an amazing game. Adam Warlock's in it too, and he's done right. It's just such a good game, unreal. So yeah, I just figured I'd do 5 games I've played recently, and yeah, I'll be doing some content regularly, and yeah, that's it really. I'll see you in the next video. If you haven't subscribed, subscribe already, and like the video and all that stuff. Right, I'll see you later. Bye.